Hello and welcome to episode number 74 of Don't Shit on the Bus. I'm your host, Adam Omakayas, tuning in all the way from Los Angeles, California, with my good friend, Suge. He's just Suge. He's a guitar tech. He's an amazing dude. I toured with him 10 plus years ago. You can find him on the road with Taking Back Sunday, most recently, Miley Cyrus. And this is our first episode of Tour Check-In. Now, keep in mind, I got some kinks to work out on this one as well because, you know, I haven't fully fleshed out what a tour check-in is. But the idea behind it is to tune in and talk to people when they're on a tour and talk about things that specifically happen on that tour. Now, Suge and I, we took more of a relaxed approach to this, but he's a chill guy, so it's kind of assumed it's going to be relaxed. But we want to learn, you know, how are you traveling? What are some difficulties you've come across? What's the tour like? And the one Suge and I talk about today was his recent run for Lollapalooza South America with Miley Cyrus. Pretty cool. What a cool gig. I learned a lot. I miss Suge. I love his demeanor. He's a very relaxed guy. He's a chill human being. Good to tour with. Very kind. Weird sense of humor. I love how it shines through on social media. If you have a chance, check him out. I think he's Suge Nasty on there. If he's not Suge Nasty, it's just Suge. But I know him as that name. He's an interesting dude. I vibe with Suge. I miss hanging out with you, my guy. Thank you so much for joining me for an hour today. And if you think I look similar to episode 73's intro, you are correct because I am currently, if you're watching this, flying home from Serbia. I am there for work. I am so excited. I have not been able to do that much photography during COVID due to some restrictions of my life, but I'm happy to be back out there. I'll be back with photographs and experiences. And yeah, anyway, Suge, thank you so much for joining me, man. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I did. And of course, I can't shout out new patrons because I'm doing this a week early, but next week I will get you guys caught up. So thank you to all the patrons who help out every week. I appreciate you. Connor appreciates you. Eva appreciates you. Everybody appreciates you. Without the patrons, there is no podcast. Well, there is a podcast. I just might have to be living somewhere else so that I can pay out of pocket for it. But really, thank you guys so much. With that being said, I'll see you next week on Don't Shit on the Bus. Suge, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you? What's going on, man?
I'm good. It's a podcast episode, but it's also a real catch up.
Yeah, I haven't seen you since. Oh man, what was that? San Diego.
Yeah, you got it. It was like whatever you were with Thrice, I think.
No, it was. I had just finished with Thrice because it was that summer festival. Totally forgot what it's called.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I thought you were on that festival that played like the amphitheater that we do on Warped Tour, but it was like with maybe like Sleeping with Sirens and.
That was the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just came to hang for the day though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had just finished up with Thrice like a month or two before that. Like I think we went to Australia and the Philippines, and then I went back to Taking Back Sunday.
Okay, cool. Well, then I was misremembering, but that makes sense now. Yeah, it's been a few years.
Yeah, because I think we'd been texting that day, and then there like list stuff was weird. You're like, hey, I have an extra ticket if you need. And then I was going, wait, hold on, back and forth. And when we met up at like right outside that gate, where Warped Tour catering would be.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Damn, it's kind of wild how Warped Tour was like a good preview of all the venues you actually get to play eventually in your career. But when you're on Warped Tour, it's like, hey, we're going to use these venues, but like only kind of.
Mm-hmm. We're going to use that parking lot right there and use two of the spots for a stage.
Yeah. And catering will actually be on the amphitheater. We're not going to use it as a stage at all.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Or production.
Yeah. Man, that shit's wild. Warped Tour was such a good intro. I mean, I'm trying to think back. When did I first meet you? Was it in a Day to Remember tour or Pierce the Veil tour? When did we first hang out?
Oh man, I think it was Day to Remember when we went to Europe, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was like, was that the tour that Poker was on? Was that the vibe?
You know what? It was Pierce the Veil and Bayside.
Oh, I remember that tour. Okay, that was after Poker. Okay, damn, I can't believe it was that. I know it was like long ago, but that is probably like 10-ish years now.
That was 10. Wait, Europe. That was January of 2011.
Did you really just recall that do you have like a freaky memory for dates? What was that?
I did the US right before that because it was Day to Remember and Under Oath in the US. And that was when What Separates Me From You came out. And then Europe wasn't too far after that. I remember.
Okay. Wow.
January, I think. It was either January. No, it was January because it was right after NAMM. Because I went to NAMM and I got the phone call about, like logistics for the tour. And while I was at NAMM, yeah.
You have a pretty good memory. That's like, I'm pretty impressed. Like I was guessing a date, but you just called the actual date. How long did you tour before I met you? Like, I know when I met you and I know what you've done since then, but how long have you been touring before that?
I started around 2000, 2001. It wasn't really like touring. I didn't really start grinding touring until 2002. Yeah, 2000, 2001. It was like I was friends with that band Limbeck, the Limbeck guys.
I know Limbeck. Well, I don't know them, but I know of them.
Yeah, so Rob and I were roommates for a hot minute, the singer, and it was cool because we all worked pretty much full-time jobs. So we would pick up the person who got out the latest, trek up north or as far east as Arizona, some
Yeah.
maybe New Mexico, and then we would literally get home with enough time to drop the first person off that had to work earliest, with enough time for them to maybe shower and take off, like after the weekend was over.
So you guys would pull all-nighters, do some shows, and then come back, or you do some shows, then pull an all-nighter on the way back, and then go to work to make some money, and then do it all again.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a hustle.
And then they really started touring a couple years after that. No, maybe,
wow.
Not too long after that, like really just grinding.
So you just, from there, you were kind of able to go on the road with them, and then you just kept meeting people, I'm sure, and kept touring and piecing it all together.
It's funny, when they got their first long-term tour, which was like 2 months with Homegrown, they asked me to do it, but I just started a new job and I couldn't get the time off for it. And so I couldn't do it. And then a year or two later, Homegrown took me on tour, and that was my first long-term tour. I mean, yeah, that was 2002. We were out pretty much 9 months out of that year, minus a month because I had to fly home to move out of my place and into a new place. So
damn,
we were out. Yeah. We were out mid-March till like the second half of December.
Well, it's good to know you got your training in early and you were like, all right, 9 months off the bat, that makes everything else easier. And I'm assuming you weren't doing it in the best accommodation. So it only got easier from there. And when we met up, by the time we toured together, you're on buses and, just crushing it. And I'm sure you've not a bus tour since then.
I've done a couple van tours. It wasn't anything like lengthy. It was,
oh yeah. Well, then I respect that. I made an assumption that was wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did actually, no, I saw you on that tour too. It was, we saw each other on that Warped. I believe it was 2012 or 2013. After Warped had finished, or after we had finished Warped, I took off with Braid so they can do their anniversary shows for the record Frame and Canvas.
Gotcha. Damn, you work with some OG artists.
It's fun. It's cool. I didn't even expect that, I saw Damon. I saw Damon and he was just going, hey, yeah, we don't know what we're doing. I'm like, well, I'll be home. So I'll come do that week if you guys need anyone.
Perfect. I mean, that's great. Respect to you for kind of hopping in a van and doing it. And today, for lack of a better segue, I was excited to have you on, not only because of your experience and how long you've been in the industry, but because this is the first episode that I'm trying to do called Tour Check-In, where I talk to somebody who's on the road, but you're not on the road. We're kind of faking it a little bit, but I did want to do this while you were on the road, but we're going to pretend we're still going to talk about your most recent tour. And we're going to pretend like, I don't know, pick a place you were on the last tour. Just pick a place.
Well, it wasn't too long ago, so it's still fresh, right?
Yeah, it's super fresh. But you were in South America. Did you go to Argentina?
Yeah. We started. So the schedule was, we started in Argentina at Lollapalooza. Then we went from there to, I believe, Bogota, Colombia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then from Bogota, we went to Paraguay.
All right. Let's pretend you're in Paraguay. I picked that place.
Yeah. So we're in Paraguay, or we're flying to Paraguay from Bogota.
All right. You're on the flight right now.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about Tour Check-In is that it allows us to kind of escape from just doing, how you got into this industry, what have you been up to? It's more like tour specific, which I think is important because there's a lot of things that are different from tour to tour. There's, how you're traveling, who you're with, how you got the tour, what the tour looks like on a day-to-day basis. I think there's a lot to learn from every tour. And I don't know, maybe we could start with like a pretty zoomed out view of this one.
Okay.
Who were you on tour with? I guess is the first thing.
I was out with Miley Cyrus.
Wow, that's a pretty big name. That's not quite Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah, it was. I went, basically flip-flopping between Taking Back Sunday and Miley Cyrus. And, it's funny. Originally, I wasn't supposed to be on the South America run, but their guy that I'm taking over for, he went somewhere else, over to Green Day.
Did you get him the Green Day gig? Is that the long con? You got him the Green Day gig, and then you got the Miley.
Yeah. That I wish. No, they called me actually right after they did Miley performed for New Year's Eve, like a
Okay.
show. I didn't get to see it. They called me like literally the day after the show, when they were on their way to the airport going, "Hey, so can you meet us in LA tomorrow?" And I was just like, my friend Evan, who actually also worked for Day to Remember, he called me and he goes, "Hey, yeah, can you meet us in LA tomorrow?" And I was going, "Oh, yeah, what's up?" And they're like, "Well, we need somebody to take Gabe's place, the tech that I'm filling, taking over for, or not taking over for, but him and I are kind of wolf. He'll still be doing stuff, as will I, things like that."
Cumulatively, you are fulfilling a position, but nobody's taken over for the other person. I got you.
Exactly. Yeah, they got home from that show and they had already been talking about South America, but we were in rehearsals for like I guess for all intents and purposes, a corporate event. So while we were in rehearsals for that, the tour manager took all my info for South America.
Okay, like passport, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
because they need to get all the visas, in place
Yeah.
and things like that. So I was just going, well, I don't think I'm going.
Yeah.
And he just kind of went, well, I'm just having a backup of a backup in case.
Yeah. He's doing the tour manager thing.
Exactly. I mean, he was covering all his bases.
I was gonna say it's crazy that even like a big gig. I mean, Miley Cyrus. Everybody, even if you don't listen to Miley Cyrus, you'll know who Miley Cyrus is.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy that even on that level, and this is no discredit to her team, this is just a norm that I want to point out, how casually and word of mouth the jobs are acquired. I mean, it's not like you went somewhere and dropped off your application. Somebody that worked for somebody was like, "Hey, I'm leaving. My tag in my friend Suge." What do you think made you the guy for this gig? Like, why you?
It's funny because Evan, who I mentioned earlier,
Does his last name start with a P?
Bovey.
Evan Bovey. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like you would know him because I think he did a run or two with the guys. Did Remember? And
I'll look up his photo.
yeah, and then he went to from Remember to Miley camp during as she was about to start the Bangers tour.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so how it all started. I mean, he's one of my really, really good friends. Like we've just been, we keep in constant contact, and he's always been looking out, just kind of trying to ask me to fill in for things here and there. And then fast forward to 2020, right before everything started, and he was busy doing something, so he had me fill in. I finally said yes, and he had me fill in for a show that Miley was doing in Australia, was scheduled for in Australia.
That's a good fill-in. A little bit of a hop, but that's great.
Yeah. It was funny. He just kind of called me. He goes, "You're doing this." So I already gave him your info. You start rehearsals on March 1st.
What makes like a good fill-in? Because how do I explain this? Sometimes people like there has to be some kind of like either non-verbal or formal agreement there. Like if he has you fill in and then for some reason they're like, "All right, we want to hire you," then you have to go back to him and be like, "Hey, I'm not trying to take your job." Like there's got to be some kind of communication and trust there, right? Because a less honest person could theoretically poach a gig in that way, correct?
Yeah, I've definitely seen that happen quite a bit.
Really? That's crazy.
Oh yeah,
What's that called? Is it called poaching?
That's a good word. I actually don't even know a proper term for it.
Being an asshole?
Pretty much.
That's so bad.
I'm not going to name names or who the artist was even.
Yeah, we wouldn't do that. But can you give us an example, maybe like something you've experienced? Because I haven't.
We can talk names off the air.
Oh no, I got no personal investment. I'm just here to learn, and I'll learn the same amount without names. I got you.
This was a while ago. It was this artist's. I'd already heard of this artist just because they've been making a name for themselves, and I got asked to do their first big tour, and it was big enough because it was their first tour. It was like theater size, and sounds weird because it's weird talking about the internets, but I call it the internets. But long story short, well, you know what? Long story short, I found out I got undercut by somebody who I haven't asked directly, but people around me have mentioned that, this person had done that before when they found out that I was up for the job.
So in a way, like the gig was like, "Hey, we have this job opening," and you're like, "All right, I apply at X amount of money," and this person understands how much you applied it. They apply for the same job and they do X minus, 200, X minus 300, and make themselves where they compensate for their maybe inability to get the gig by making it more desirable based on budget. But I mean, in a way, isn't that nice that you kind of it's kind of like when you figure out that somebody you're dating is an asshole right away, because now
Yeah.
you don't have to waste all this time with said
Yes.
artist who doesn't value their employees.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you owe them a
Exactly.
thank you. You owe them a thank you, really.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah. I guess so, huh? It worked itself out.
Hey man. Now I mean, this is a cool tour though. Like I've toured on a lot of different levels, but I would say I've only touched or kissed the level of which you toured on this.
Mhm.
What was your role with Miley Cyrus group?
I was guitar and bass tech for Jamie Renson and
Okay.
on this run, Joe Ayub, the bass player. Jamie played in the band American Hi-Fi.
Oh, I know Jamie. I
Yeah,
did a photo
yeah.
shoot once with them in LA at I don't know. I'll send you the photos after this. I did a photo
Okay.
shoot with them when maybe I was 21 at one of their houses.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because Stacy Jones, the drummer, he's also Miley's MD, music director.
Oh wow. That's crazy. Small world.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. So it took a little bit of catching up because I knew they wouldn't remember me because I haven't seen them in 20 years.
Did you tour with them or?
Well, back in 2002, it was Warped Tour, and American Hi-Fi was on the same stage as Homegrown. They didn't do the whole summer, but they pretty much did most of the summer. And then after that, Homegrown kind of broke off after Warped Tour and just did tour after tour, one off after one off. And there was a few one-offs where it was American Hi-Fi and Homegrown playing the same show.
That's great. I love that you got to reconnect with them 20 years later. That is such a nice part about the music industry. So when you're getting asked to go on this tour, we know it came to you pretty nonchalantly, or rather like through word of mouth. One thing that like is hard to explain to other people, and maybe I just have a misunderstanding of how other crew jobs work, but when somebody asks you for a gig, what are the questions you ask them to determine if you want to take it or not? Or do you just take it because you got recommended, or is it mostly a money thing? Like, what do you try to figure out before you take this tour?
It's a lot of factors for me. It's really just, well, I'll start with when it really comes down to it, it's just schedule.
Am I available?
Yeah. And is it worth it? Not money wise, just busy, because I like to be busy.
You want to stay touring?
Yeah, stay working, But then I also look at, okay, would I vibe with the band? Like the people I'm working for and everybody else, and then everybody else.
How do you determine that? How do you determine if you're going to vibe with these people if you haven't met them?
Yeah, fortunately, I've met a majority of the people I've toured with, which is actually kind of funny that when I went in a day to remember, not knowing the guys, but it was cool because everybody was so nice, and we all, including you on that run, we all got along and hung out.
That was a good vibe. Yeah, it was a good tour.
But the money, this is going to sound weird, but I'm not money driven. Of course I'm an adult. I have bills like everybody else. I'd like to live comfortably, but I'm not that. There's a lot of people that, I go where the money goes, but then I see them hopping from job to job, from band to band. I like to try to stay loyal, but then when it starts getting uncomfortable is when I kind of make my exit, I guess you can say.
And what do you think the benefits are? Like, I definitely relate to you. I like the stay loyal aspect. Money isn't the determining factor. It's mostly a schedule thing and a vibe thing. Because it's a reflection of where you're at in your career, right? You've been doing it for a while. You're not trying to go out there and hate your life. What do you think some of the positives are, or I guess maybe there's other people out there who are trying to figure out what gig to take and what not to take. Why do you think it's more beneficial for you as a human being to take the ones and be loyal with them rather than just go to the higher paying gig? And what makes somebody who does take the higher paying gig, or rather the money gig, hop around so much? What can you explain that to me?
I look at it as, why would you want to go into your job just grinding your teeth every day? I've had those kind of jobs, and it just made me miserable. Just a total grump all day, and that whole working for the weekend thing. That's where I see that, and it's like grinding your teeth, and then you get 2 days off, and then you start grinding your teeth for another 5 days. The money thing, I see it's and I'm not knocking anybody that goes to school to do this. I never went to school, because that's what they went to school for, is to go into their craft. A friend of mine and I had a conversation about this, and he kind of nailed it on the head. He said it's a different kind of passion in a way. I'm not, again, I'm not knocking anybody that goes to school to do it. I wish I could have gone to school.
I think we can agree that you have your preference, and if somebody else's is different, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It's just there's different people out there, and that's okay to talk about.
Yeah. There's a different kind of passion behind it. I grew up in punk rock and hardcore, so I was very DIY. I kind of learned stuff on my own, not because I could, but because I had to. So, as for me in this world, as more as the bigger the gigs
Yeah.
started coming, or even just the more gear that started coming in, I had to force myself to learn all this, and get advice from friends, et cetera, et cetera.
You went to school on your own.
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish I could have gone to school. I mean, I didn't have the means to, but there's different purposes.
Yeah. Everybody's got different routes and different place, different time in life. I mean, I'm sure some people who went to school and wish that they could have toured with the local band on the weekends and then worked their day job during the week. I'm sure
Yeah.
some people wish they had your route. Rad. So, I mean, you get this gig, you ask, you figure out, you're like, all right, pay seems decent, schedule makes sense, keeps me on the road, people I vibe with. You go out on the road. This is not a normal tour. Like, you're not hopping in a bus. Is this a kind of tour you've done before where can you tell me about the travel and what it's like?
Yeah, this was crazy to me just because it's on such a different level. We were on our own plane, first off.
What's that mean?
They had their own private, like, I guess, I don't know if this is the right term, but a private charter.
I think that's right. I mean, it's not a private jet that you're renting from it's like a normal plane, but
Yeah.
you're the only people on it, right? You like bought the whole theater.
Pretty much. Exactly. Yes.
Was it crew and band, or was like Miley on it as well, or is it just everybody but her?
Yeah, it was Miley, her band, and the crew.
That's rock star. I fuck with that.
Yeah, it was gnarly. I mean, you walk onto a normal sized plane with all business class seats. And so for me, I was just going, wait, what? Business class seats? There's like a space to hold your drink?
And how many people were on there?
At some point I thought there was 66 people, but I'd heard there was like just around 100.
Holy shit. Your estimation is way off. For somebody who's really good at dates and numbers, Suge, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it's definitely way off. Cause I mean, it was Miley. She had some of her family out, her band. There was, the band with all the band. It was, instruments, backup singers, etc. Then there was pyro, video, audio, backline.
Pyrotechs. There was not fire on the plane. This was the tech for
Pyrotechs. Yeah, pyrotechs.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
As you said pyro, I'm like picturing a
say
plane with pyro on it. No, I know what you meant.
Yeah, it was a lot. And so
that's so cool. That is
Yeah.
awesome. What a fun feeling. Like, did you get on the first time and you're like, we're really doing this?
I was thinking that walking to the plane
Yeah.
because we're on a private strip. So we're, walking across the where all the planes are, and I'm just looking going, okay, wow.
It's like the first time you go to the mall during school hours when you're a kid. And you're like, whoa,
Mhm.
people exist from, 7 a.m. or whatever to 3 p.m.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like. I'm breaking all the rules.
exactly.
That's
And all the
amazing.
food-
I wish I could
the
have been there
food
with you
was
to see it.
served on. The food was served on ceramic plates, and not that, the where you peel off the plastic little.
Oh, it was like you're at a real restaurant.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So you had like catering on the flights as well?
Yeah. Yep. Catering, snacks. I mean, there was Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi was terrible, as Wi-Fi is terrible on all flights.
Yeah, just to message people, kind of.
Yeah.
Did you at any point think you're like, I think I'm getting paid for this, but I might have to pay them? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
feels like too good where you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. Okay. It's like, okay, when is this over? Because this isn't funny anymore. No, but it was surreal.
I love talking to people when they have their firsts of anything, because those moments I feel like really remind me why I like to do what I like to do, because and it reminds me to be happy with even the things that, it's my 100th time doing it, because there's no reason it should be any less fun the 100th time you do what you just did. And it's, just to sidestep from the podcast, dude, congrats. Well done on acquiring such a fun gig. That's great.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. It's still weird to me, but it's cool. Like, in a good way. I'm just like, whoa, okay. I'm at this weird level that I don't know. I never thought when I started this, I never had a goal to, I never set any goal to, I'm going to work for Miley someday.
You weren't just like private jet with catering, charter.
Yeah.
All right. Check that box. You're just like, I don't know where this goes.
Yeah. I had catering with ceramic utensils, but not working for Miley Cyrus. No. Yeah. It was just, I never set that goal for myself. I just did it because I liked it and I love music. I was with my friends, just, somewhat thinking we were making some kind of a change.
Yeah. It's bigger than yourself. It goes to what you said before. This is your passion. You're doing it because you feel passionate about it. It's not like
Yeah.
you went to school, sat down in a notebook and started saying, I need to make this much money, be traveling this way and working for this artist, which, I think everybody says, well, I just want to do something bigger and better, or, maybe not bigger and better. That might be the wrong word, but something that provides value for people I care about. And that
Yeah.
just kind of keeps moving you forward and got you to this point.
It's fun. I mean, it's great to see. I mean, what's gratifying is seeing, with any of the bands I've worked for, is seeing hundreds or thousands or whatever fans screaming lyrics, from beginning to end, from the front of the room to the back of the room, just everybody singing along for that moment. They're forgetting about everything and just having a good time.
Real fast, something cool about airplanes when you fly in them, there's like a restriction. And I knew about this from a tour I did. When you post photos of the plane, if you do, what do you have to hide? What is the thing?
The tail number.
Yeah, because it like gives, I guess people can like look up the plane based on that number.
Yeah. And I had no idea because I don't know how planes work,
God damn it. You know guitars, but not planes?
Yeah, I know guitars, but not planes. So I was just like, No, but I mean, apparently with us, it was like somehow fans knew the tail number.
Somebody leaked it?
Yeah, somebody leaked the tail number because when we had to make an emergency landing on our way to Paraguay. We landed in Paraguay, but we got struck by lightning.
I didn't think that happened. Are you sure you're not making it up? Maybe the pilot just sucked.
Miley posted a picture of the. You can see it on her Instagram. She posted a picture of the tail. Yeah, I'll send you the picture. I have screenshot her picture of the damage, but it's crazy because we were en route to Paraguay for the festival, and we were flying into a huge thunderstorm.
Oh, I see the picture. That's wild.
Yeah, and we were en route. We had, when we made our landing, there were fans already waiting
on the runway.
Yeah, not on the runway, but it was a tiny airport that we had to land at. Okay. Apparently, it was a tiny airport in the middle of a jungle, so they were closed already. There was nobody there, so when we landed, we had to wait like an hour or two for maintenance to get there to fix the damage.
That's crazy. You kept the same plane.
Yeah. What happened was that when the maintenance showed up, they used speed tape to fix the damage. So they taped up the damage, which sounds odd that they just taped up the hole. But I just found this out from some lighting friends of mine. It's very expensive per roll, but it's rated at 700 miles an hour. Yeah, it can take the flying that planes go through. They put enough on there to cover the entire area. And
I found a $3,300 roll of it.
$3,300. Jesus. For how many feet? Does it say how many feet?
3 meters. 180 yards.
Oh, 180 yards. That's times 3. So that's 54 feet.
540 feet.
540 feet?
I mean, if it's 180 yards.
500. Yeah, I added it wrong. 540 feet.
No, it's all good. That's crazy though. It is expensive. They're like they're like thousands of dollars. This one's $5,000.
Yeah.
This one's $23,000. Maybe it's a big amount of them. Oh, it's only 730 each. I get it. 2 rolls per case, a lot of cases. All right, guys, I'm crazy. It's $1,000. That's still a lot.
That's a lot for a roll of tape.
That's crazy.
So
they did that.
Happened with us.
And you didn't fly over 700 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't know how fast planes fly.
400 to 500.
Is it? Okay. So they rated it. They made it to handle a little more than that.
That's good. And no more lightning strikes. So what'd you do? You get repaired and then you guys just took back off and finished your flight?
Well, what happened was, so we were flying, Paraguay was going through a crazy lightning storm.
Yeah.
So the festival in Paraguay ended up getting canceled anyway because it got flooded out.
Oh, wow. That sucks.
Yeah. So when we landed, we were getting text messages, but also some of our people were texting some of their people, like the people that they knew that were on site. It was on a track, from what I understand, like a horse track. The foundation was already sinking a little bit from the flood.
Yes. Sketchy.
Yeah. A couple feet in the city, there was like a foot or two of water flooding the area. We were waiting. Well, the festival got canceled, officially announced the next day that it was canceled. So we made just the decision to fly straight to Sao Paulo from where we landed. It was just 150 miles outside of Paraguay.
Okay, not too far. That's so wild, though. What a scary experience.
Yeah, it was all right. It was weird. It didn't really faze me much.
You didn't get any heart drop moments?
Not really. I was kind of having fun.
Lightning on the airplane. I'm with all my friends. Yeah. We're doing it, man.
I was just kind of like, I don't know. It sounds weird. My coffee cup started sliding at the first little bit of turbulence. So I just kind of kept it from spilling on my friend. So I held it in my other hand because he was on my right. I put the cup in my left and was kind of laughing because every time the plane would drop, I would look in and, I didn't spill anything. So I just kind of just chuckled a little bit.
Man, I'd love to be on a flight like that with you. You sound like you're a good stress
like,
lower. It's like, I'm scared for my life, and this guy's worried about his caffeine dripping.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the wrong way to look at it. I didn't think about it until afterwards because, a couple people were a little shook. They thought I was a little crazy.
Did they say they were a little shug?
Little shug. They were a little shugged.
Got him.
Yeah, I was just kind of like, wait, what? You were scared? And they're just like, you weren't? I'm like, I don't know. Not.
I mean,
guess.
what am I going to do? I can be scared and then nothing comes of it, right?
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to the stage show, because I do want to ask you about that, but just to keep it a little chronological so I can articulate even my questions, you go on the plane, you land in said city. What's your schedule like with this artist? Is it the same as any other artist, or is it different? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are headlining these 100,000 plus cap shows in South America. What's your schedule like when you land in the city you're going to?
This one was a little different. Yeah. So here the schedule went. We started at Lollapalooza, Argentina. Then we went to Lollapalooza, Chile. From Chile, we went to a headlining show for Miley in Bogota, Colombia.
Oh, you had like a kind of your own show, and then you went back to the festival? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So then there was another festival, which was in Paraguay. And then from Paraguay, we were flying, and then we went to the last show, which was Sao Paulo, Lollapalooza, Brazil.
Wow. That's a fucking trip if I've ever heard of one. Wow. It's part of my language.
And, it's Lollapalooza. So it's 3 shows, across the weekend. But we had to go from Argentina to Chile, which the day we got there was the day that Miley was playing and her band. So, we got there in the morning. So we had enough time to check into our hotels, have like a couple hours off, then go straight to the site. Except the only difference was this time it was what's called a throw and go, which is we didn't get to really check any of the instruments, sound check, line check. We just had to wait until the changeover time and just set up the gear, and the band comes out and plays.
What? Anxiety level? How much higher does that make your anxiety when you can't double check? I mean, I double check everything as much as I can before something. So I'm like memory card, battery, everything. How much does that rock you when it's a throw and go?
I mean, can we cuss on here?
The podcast is called "Don't Shit on the Bus."
Okay, cool. Oh yeah. I mean, I was shitting my pants. It's my second show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's my second show with the first time with this camp. So I'm just going, and me, I'm always just in my head. I'm just going, oh my God. Okay. So I need to string this guitar when
you care.
I need to string this guitar. I need to check these cables. I need to do this. Okay, wait. But now the setup, this goes here, but then that goes over there. I need to bring this cable through over here, and then, blah, blah, blah. And so, and mind you, we're already just getting in the morning. So we barely had some sleep. You can't really sleep for an hour or two when we're there because that's going to ruin the whole day and just make you groggy.
I mean, that's another thing you don't really think about is when you're in a bus and it's a US tour, like not international, you sleep on the bus, you get up, you do the venue, and it's more or less like you have this reliable schedule. When you're flying and getting hotels, you're probably spending so much time in transit that when you had those few hours off, are you sleeping? Are you just trying to catch up, or what's your vibe?
I try not to, just because for me, I get super groggy. So I just hate dragging knuckles. I try to stay up, do the job, or do whatever I need to do, and sleep when it's sleep time.
But when is sleep time if you're flying at 3 a.m.?
That was an exception. That was a rough one. that was a little weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you figured it out. And so, okay, you go throw and go or line check, you get ready for the show. How does this show compare to other shows? I mean, it's obviously bigger. And when something's bigger, there comes with more pressure. And when you have 2 art, what is the difference between this and when like your normal gig is you're usually with Taking Back Sunday? What's different with this gig?
It's a different kind of pressure. I think, well, actually, that's kind of not fair for me to say because I've been with Taking Back Sunday for almost 8 years now.
Respect.
So I know, I still have the same stresses. I guess it's a little different just because I know them. I know how their stage goes as far as setup and things like that. And then in the sense of Miley Cyrus, I mean, there's, I think this isn't Chile, but I mean, there was the first show, there was over 100,000 people in attendance watching Miley's set. I think in Sao Paulo, they said it was it was that first show. 100,000 people watching was crazy because that was where I was saying everybody's singing along front to back from beginning to end. With everything that's happened in the last couple of years, there was that anxiousness. Like people wanted shows, people wanted to see live music,
and it's South America.
That was gnarly. I mean, you feel it. It's just like, whoa, okay.
Did you take any videos from stage?
I did.
I would love to learn. You got to send me one.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you. I'm trying, not learn because I'm learning. I'm still in the early stages, trying to learn how to edit, film and edit videos.
Oh, let me know what you need help with. I'll connect you with somebody from dude, we got listeners on here that would happily help you. I can help you. Anybody, you let me know what you need help with and we got you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's rad.
Of course.
I got a GoPro because if I spend the money, I have to force myself to learn because I don't want to waste all that money.
That's a sunk cost, but it's okay.
Yeah. So I've started doing that. So I made a couple videos from the tour.
All right, well, send one to us and we'll throw it. Well, I mean, I don't want to get DCMA'd or whatever from any of the audio, but we can throw some visual on here without any audio just so people can see what your view was if you're comfortable sharing it. Yeah. And we'll just play it right now. So if you're watching the video version, you can see this. Actually, Spotify shows video now, so you can see this. And if not, cool. Well, check out the video version. But anyway, that's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
So you felt the pressure of the 100,000 people. How did that affect your job? Is it just like, all right, everything you're doing, you're just even more focused on it? Does it make it harder? Or is it easier? Because I don't know.
I guess all of the above. I mean, I'm always just...
Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah. I'm always looking, I'm not making this trying to make this sound negative at all, but I'm always looking for something to go wrong.
I mean, that's not negative. That's your job.
Yeah. I'm always just kind of paying attention to everything. Yeah, preventing.
Proactively preventing issues. That's your job, because when something goes wrong, that probably means that you didn't check something 10 times. You only checked it 9.
Yep. See, and if something does go wrong in my head, I'm sitting there going, okay, did I do this? Oh, crap. Wait, maybe I didn't do that, et cetera, et cetera. And
do you have like a written checklist, or is it literally just all in your head? Or do you have any systems you've created over time, or when, you know what I mean?
I definitely have a system. It just depends on the act, because I think of a flow in my head. Yeah. Where I once I get comfortable enough, I could start thinking of the sequence of events that I have to, go through. So, and I also look at time, like if there's like changeover time from the last band before the band that I'd be working for, that time of setting up, I'm always like, okay, they finish at this time, so we only have this amount of time, so I have to go and do this first since that takes longer.
Yeah. Just figuring out the order of operations, basically. That makes the most sense.
Yep.
I know that you said that you knew, just going back to talking about touring with this group of people, one of the things you said was that you want to make sure, it's a group you vibe with. And I'm assuming because you knew these people and you took the gig that it was somebody you vibed with. To me, it's always interesting how much of that radiates or is trickled down from the artists themselves. Do you feel that, like, if an artist is an asshole, then the crew's probably an asshole and vice versa? And if so, why?
Yes.
I love the pause and the look on your face. Yeah, I didn't want to like force the answer on you either, because I'm okay with me being wrong. If you're like, no, that's not how I've experienced it. But if it is how you experienced it, obviously without names, I'd love to hear examples or like, things you've noticed.
I'd say I'm going to stick with the answer yes. I mean, because it's like with any job, if you see the management, it just goes down the chain. And I'll say when I worked, I still do, but when I worked a shift at the observatory in Santa Ana, I'll go from the beginning. It was at the observatory in Santa Ana, so it was a double show. So there was an early show and a late show on the same stage. She was going to the performer for the late show. Her crew was nice enough, but they were still just very like, this needs to be done, and why isn't this done? It was just like they're super distressed. Yeah, demanding because they were stressed. I think part of that stems from they were a little like intimidation from the artist.
Okay, they were scared.
Yeah, just because the way that their tone in the way they were requesting things and wanting things and asking for things, it wasn't really like a comfortable asking. It was kind of like talking to you and not talking at you and not to you.
Yeah, it's almost like they've had these things happen before and they've dealt with the repercussions and they're scared that that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So they're trying to avoid it.
And so that just makes us stressed because it's like, oh my God, we got to get this done. And they want this now, but then in reality, they're not really paying attention. They're just barking the orders because they know they have to. And then I've been in another, there's other situations where one of the people, I won't say if it's artist or crew, but it's just just so super stressed out and totally controlling that it trickles down and it makes the other people kind of act the same way, where it has a negative effect on everybody.
Yeah, it's crazy that when somebody makes the extra effort in the wrong way to avoid something bad happening, what they're actually doing is creating a situation in which it's more likely something bad will happen.
Yeah.
So then on the flip side, it sounds like your experience with Miley Cyrus is the polar opposite of that. Can you tell me what it was like? Look, I don't like to ask about artists specifically. I think that's incorrect, but I just want to know what it was like overall working with somebody who didn't create that atmosphere. Like, what are things artists do to create a positive vibe and crew? And like, what does that feel like working with a healthy family?
I mean, it was great. It was super relaxed. I mean, of course, there's not stressful moments, but there's a sense of urgency you still have to have, of course. But
Yeah.
it was just like with them, it was everybody is so talented, and that stems from Miley to all the crew, where nobody really had to look over each other's shoulders.
Yeah.
Everybody was there. We all did our own things, but we came together to do it.
Trust each other.
Yeah, and the band themselves are so talented. I mean, Stacy, the music director, he'll map out the set, let everybody know what's going on, and they'll rehearse it on their own. Then they'll all come together for in-person rehearsals, hammer through it a few times. And again, they're so talented that they'll have the set down within like a day. And then and then the next day they'll just kind of, fine tune everything. It's just a good vibe through it all. It's not stressful. It's just like Stacy will always kind of, there's a microphone. Everybody's got their own microphone, so they can hear each other. The talk back, yeah. Where he'll just be like, "Hey, how does everybody feel? Everybody good with that? Okay, cool. Do you want to run it again? Cool. No, cool. Great job, everyone." And then that's it. Very comfortable. It's not, and if something were to go wrong, they would stop and be like, "Okay, let's get this worked out. Let's do it. You're good. Cool. Are you good? Cool. Let's go."
So it sounds like it comes down to communication and everybody being on the same page. And when we had Neil on here for the first 30 or so episodes, we'd always talk about like, you have to be a good hang, because if you have bad negative energy, and this sounds like a really good example, it can kind of affect everyone. Like when you're going through these talk back moments, I can't imagine if somebody was like, "Okay, you good? Do we need to go over anything?" If somebody was like, "Fuck this, I hate this, you all suck." Like, I know that's an extreme example to represent principle, but you know what I mean? Like that would just ruin everything.
Before.
Really?
Oh my God. Yeah. Again, not naming names. I was on a tour and, we had our in-ears in. The set starts and one of them gets on the mic and on the talkback, directed at the monitor engineer. But of course, we're all on the same, we can all hear it. And I just hear, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, fucking fix this now. I need this and this, fucking make it work and get it done. God damn it." Like something like that. I mean, it was crazy.
Great.
And that was my first show with them. So I literally flinched. And actually, a friend of ours was standing on the same side, basically was standing in front of me. And he looks at me and just starts laughing because he's used to it by this time. He just looks at me and does the kind of just, "Don't even worry about it.
Just brush it off." Like, he's like, "We're going through
brush it off. It happens all the time."
What if anything, like what would be the line of which you would be like, "Not for me, I'm out," and make you drop and go home? Is there something that would cross that line other than obvious? Like, I assume violence and stuff would be anybody's line, but is there something that comes before that you would call it on?
I have a pretty high tolerance level just because, if something were to go wrong, I'll do what I can to fix the situation. I have been yelled at twice ever, I think, which I guess is a good thing because it's only been twice.
Yeah.
Both of those times, from what I understand, was not, well, one of those times I'll take fault for. The other time, from what I understand, was not my fault. It was just the person was having a bad day and took it out on me because I was the new guy. But I was apologized to both of those times, so I was fine. I left one situation because I just wasn't getting treated properly all around. It was just constant, not treated, mentally bad. It was just, they just didn't look out for the crew or treat the crew like they should have been treated, me and myself included.
So it wasn't a unique to you thing. It was like, okay, this whole camp is operating in a way which I don't vibe with.
Yeah. And that was where we were talking about earlier. The vibe, it comes down, it flows down the chain, where the vibe the whole time was just terrible. Like these guys hated what they did. Like I'd never been around a group of people who hated touring more than them.
What a bad way to tour, man. That's like the opposite of this podcast. They all probably shit on the bus.
Oh, I wouldn't, and they wouldn't have given a shit about it.
Yeah, that's the worst, man. Ugh.
The tour, what became my last tour with them, going into that, when they were booking that tour, I remember we were sitting on a tour, and so they're going back and forth with the agent, and they were saying, okay, well, we're going to book this tour because, and they'd already been making some terrible decisions, turning down big tours that they shouldn't have been. So it got to the point where the agent was just like, okay, we're going to book this tour and you're going to do it. And so they finally said, okay, fine, we'll do it. And then it turned into, well, this tour needs to be 2 months long. All members were just like, why 2 months long? Why does it have to be 2 months long? Why can't it be 6 weeks long? Agent comes back. Okay. We broke it down. It's going to be 6 weeks long. 6 weeks long? Why does it have to be 6 weeks long? Why can't it be a month long?
Make less money. Work less. It's like, what a concept.
Agent put his foot down and said, we cut it down to 5 weeks. We're not cutting it down anymore. You're doing 5 weeks. That's that.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I would just drop the client. I'd be like, all right, I'm out. These guys aren't even on the same team as me.
Yeah, it was. And I'm sitting here just listening to all this going, man, you guys really don't care about doing anything except for recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, they canceled the show. Because there was no talk. There was never a, hey, we're going to cancel the show. It was just a, hey, this show has, the ticket sales aren't great. There's talk of canceling, but there was also talk of moving it to a smaller venue. Band didn't hesitate. All booked flights home. Cancel the show.
That's crazy.
Before the confirmation of cancellation even happened. They booked flights home.
What a way to exist, man.
Yeah.
Usually I'm pretty good at trying to find ways to relate. And there's a lot of things that I'll kind of dismiss and be like, okay, I can't relate to this. I need to wait till I'll experience this. Then I'll understand it. It's happened throughout my life on so many different things. Like whether people are like, wait till you have kids, wait till I don't know, wait till your grandparents die. Like things like you don't really understand.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever be able to understand that one. And I don't think I'll ever make it to the space. So I'm just going to have to be at a loss from words from a distance and be like, all right, that's a wild way to live.
I was only with them for, I think, a year. And this is only a year. And I've seen more terrible decisions made in that year than I've ever seen in anything else.
Hey, man, you probably learned a shit ton. Just observing people operate like that. How did that, sometimes you got to see where you end up if you follow the darkness. Did it just push you in the other direction even more? Like your trajectory was
absolutely.
Like to the left. Like how did it affect you?
The moment I said I was out, I was just like, I'm not doing that again. Because that was the first experience I had going into a group of people that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it was just luckily it was, not, I won't go so far as to say it was my worst experience, but it was definitely a bad experience. So luckily from there, it's gotten better. There's been hit or misses here and there, but I've been pretty fortunate. I am very fortunate to have been able to do this for the most part with good people.
Well, I think that's like a projection of who you are and who you surround yourself with and why it's important, Maybe for an example, the person who undercut you for a gig, you're probably not friends with them. You probably don't talk to them. You don't associate with them, and you wouldn't take a job that they recommended to you. Mm-hmm. But then you have people like that, from American Hi-Fi, and you have people that from, Gabe that text for other artists. And when those people recommend you a gig, you take it because you want to follow these like positivity and this vibe. And as you were talking, I did remember a tour I did where I didn't notice it at the time because I was pretty young, and I would kind of just go on tour and really disconnect myself from the people I toured with. But it was the first tour where I went home and I felt like I don't know if vehemently is the right way to say the word or the right word for it, but I disagreed with their values on such a very core level. And they did things I was uncomfortable with. It wasn't violent, but it was definitely borderline, it grossed me out. I felt bad about myself having to see things happen where I was like, I'm never touring with them again in this phase of their career.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird, and now it might be even different. Like maybe even now, like somebody I totally agreed with on every level, but just parties too much might not be my vibe to tour. And that's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. That's just not where I'm at right now in life.
Exactly. Yep.
But it's so
Like,
wild.
yeah.
Go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, it's weird. The older we get, like as far as the partying aspect, it was never that important to me anyway. I mean, I'll still go out and drink every now
I'm
and
here
again.
for the hang.
Yeah.
The party.
But
I need a party.
I'm not gonna go and get blasted and close and shut the bar down and
Yeah.
then go to another bar after that or an after party. No, I don't care for that. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah. You want to do your job well the next day.
Yeah, exactly. My feet hurt. I don't want to,
Got to get new shoes.
Yeah, I had to buy. I just had to order insoles, new insoles. Oh wow,
aren't these sweet looking? I just got them.
What are they?
They're called On Cloud. I needed new running shoes, and I didn't realize how bad my other running shoes were, and now I'm just wearing them all the time. They don't even have laces. Just like they're
kind of
great.
slip-ons, but you can tighten them, right? Oh, that's cool.
They came with a pair of laces that I could put on, but they fit perfectly.
That's cool.
I'm only 2 days in, so maybe it's pretty premature to be recommending them. But I've done a few runs and walked everywhere with them. I'm wearing them during a podcast. That's how comfortable they are.
I had to do I went to CVS and stepped on the machine.
Oh, what's that do?
It measures your feet, like the pressure points, and then it suggests the insoles, the Dr. Scholl's insole. So I did that and just ordered some. I'm waiting for them to come in.
Dr. Scholl reminds me of Mitch Hedberg. Man, I don't have insoles anymore, but I used to have like arch supports when I was a kid because I have big arches. Means you can run faster. That's
good. Yeah, I can't run with shit.
Yeah, dude. Let's race. It'll be fun for one of us.
It'll be fun for you. I'll look.
You put it together. Damn it.
Yeah, I'll look like that one guy on Superbad. I totally forgot his name and I totally forgot his character. But when he's running on the track and he's just super winded,
Jonah Hill?
He's like, "This is bullshit." Jonah Hill. His character when he's running on the track, he's like, "This is bullshit. This is bullshit." That's me.
Man, that movie's so good. I've watched it again recently and it's still really good. That movie is good.
I need to watch that again for sure.
I one time ended up in an Uber with one of the guys from that movie and he was on shrooms and I'd never met him before. And I was like, "What's up, man?"
No way.
Dude, just having a night. And I was like, all right. It was just, we had a similar group of friends and it was a very funny adventure.
That's awesome.
Rad. Well, I mean, we're at an hour. I think we did.
Are we really?
Yeah, we did it. I mean, we did like an hour. That was a pretty good, I mean, tour check-in was like it's going to take a bit for me to flesh it out, but I like how it kind of I like how we balanced between like the tour specifically and just other thoughts on things that happen. Like, I don't know. How is that as a podcast interviewee?
Honestly, I didn't even think of it as a podcast.
It just felt like a conversation.
Yeah, because the only thing that felt like a podcast is the camera, because I'm not used to the like FaceTiming and stuff like that. But other than that, when we're just talking, it was cool.
I know you're like about to say artist names. You're like, wait. No, this is going to be public. I have to refrain from that. It's okay. One thing that I thought was really interesting, and I know that this is a given for me because I'm in the industry and I understand this, but when you're talking to me and this is going to be public, you said, we have to keep these names out of here, but I'll tell you after. Why is it okay to not say them publicly, but to say them privately? Like, what's the thought process there? If you were to put it into words,
for me, it's different, I think, than what people would think. It's just, I don't want to give them that attention. It's it's forgotten. I'm never going to bring it up again, but if I do, I've moved on. I'm not going to give them the pleasure of the attention.
But when you tell me, I kind of think of it as like, I was trying to articulate in my head. It's like, oh, but why? Maybe from a listener's point of view, they're like, oh, he can tell Adam, but he can't tell me. Like, what makes Adam special? And I was thinking that it kind of reflects the trust we have in each other, but it's really like a professional map in a way where you're like, hey, this is the art. Like, it's not gossip. In a way, you're just like, hey, this artist did this thing, which is really wrong to me. We don't need it to be out there in their public eyes because it would affect their career. But professionally, privately, you probably don't want to work for them if they've done this, and that's helpful to know. So I just thought it was a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Also, I don't want to ruin the perspective of the fans that they have of these people.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, I don't want to ever put these people on blast. There's some I'd like to put on blast just because they're shitty people.
They'll put themselves out there eventually.
Yeah. For the most part, some of them are good people. It's just maybe should be doing something else.
Yeah. I agree. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on here. It was really, really nice to catch up with you. And thanks for doing it in the form of podcast with me.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I never think that I'm like cool enough to be asked to do stuff. So I'm like, okay, damn. You want to really?
Dude, me too. I didn't think I was cool enough for you to come on here.
No, dude.
I'll take it as a reflection of my coolness.
Anytime you need anything, let me know. You know. I'm
yeah.
hanging.
So my next guest I really wanted was Miley. So if you could just plug me in real quick, you know, I know that just next time you're on the flight, just show up, put me in front of her, and I'll just go for it.
We'll FaceTime from rehearsals. You know,
I just need you for 1 hour. Take a break. Everybody, you're still paid. It's cool. Let's just talk about a wrecking ball.
Yeah. I'd be into that.
All right, sweet. Well, yeah, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your week. This will be coming out actually in 1 week, and I will be, I'm going to Serbia tomorrow. I'm very excited. I just wanted to tell you.
Dude, that's crazy for a photo shoot with the nicest dudes in the world.
Nicest dudes in the world. We won't give away who it is because I don't know when they're releasing that information about what they're doing, but I'm very excited.
That's going to be cool.
Thank you. I'm excited to travel.
How long are you going?
I leave tomorrow, which if you're hearing this is a week ago. And then I come back the 24th, which is the day that this comes out.
Oh, dude, you're going to have a blast.
I'm very excited. I'm looking. Okay, so I play this card game called Magic the Gathering. I love it. I play it a lot. And I've played it in some crazy places and gone through some pretty extensive sleepless nights to get to play it when I'm on the road. But I looked it up. Serbia does have a local game store that hosts Magic the Gathering tournaments. And a new set of cards comes out this weekend. Unfortunately, I'm out of town, but I'm going to try to go there at night and play like the new set or find some time off to do it. And I'm hoping the cards are printed in English there because I was looking up languages and I don't know if they like more people speak Russian or another language there, but I hope it's English.
Yeah, I hope so for your sake.
Me too. Me too. Thanks for letting me talk about myself a little bit. I just, you know, I just got nobody to tell all my exciting things to, so I appreciate it.
That's going to be so rad. I'm so psyched for you. That's so cool.
Thanks. I'll send photos. You send me that GoPro video. All right.
I will. I have a few. Do you want me to send them all? Like just a few? Because I have the like kind of movies that I made.
Yeah.
And then
whatever you think's cool.
Clips. Okay. I'll send you a couple.
Cool.
I'll send you a couple options.
Thank you so much for your time today, man. If you ever need help with anything, video, anything, podcast, any cool people you think would be a good podcast guest, let me know. I'm just down. I'm just trying to keep learning.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This was cool.
All right. I look forward to seeing you in real life, man.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.